What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Drew Hoover, and I'm coming to you from work, which this is okay. I'm on my break. It just gives me enough time to do these videos with you guys. It's playoff time, and we're going to be talking about the Buffalo Bills versus the New England Patriots. It's going to be the third time they face this year. Each one's got a win on each other, so it should be an interesting game. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please click that subscribe button. Also, if you have any graphic design needs, Anthony Garcia is your man. His link is in the description below, www.anthonygarciadesign.com. Now, where do we start with this, man? Because we talk about the Bills possibly taking the regime away from the Patriots, but man, they were only 1 year off from missing the playoffs to already being back. And a lot of that has to do with two things. One, the playoff Mac Jones. Man, the way that Mac Jones slipped into the lap at number 15. And really, he's been really maximizing those weapons, which I stand by my statement that a lot of these weapons aren't really the best wide receivers. I wouldn't even say they're adequate, but his play is so good. He's making these wide receivers look good, which is something you only see from the most talented and veteran players. So that's another thing going. Also, the Patriots, man, with Bill Belichick putting together that defense, man. That's what he spent most of that offseason doing through free agency and the draft. And it's really paid dividends. You're talking about the addition of Matt Judon, bringing back Kyle Van Noy. Talking about in the secondary, even though they trade away Stephon Gilmore, guys like J.C. Jackson and Kyle Duggar really have stepped it up in the secondary. And honestly, both defenses from both teams have really stepped it up this year. Talking about the Buffalo Bills having the #1 pass defense, which is saying something since Tre'Davious White got put on IR this year. So, not to mention the sack totals are higher this year. When you talk about the depth they have at that position, having guys like Jerry Hughes, drafting guys like Gregory Rousseau, and Boogie Bosham and AJ Espinoza, I think it's finally starting to pay off. The only thing this year is that it feels like Josh Allen's had to carry the load a little bit more this year, and it looks like it's going to take more than Stephon Gilmore, who had another season with over 100 catches and had, I believe, was it 1,200 yards receiving. That it wasn't going to be enough, you know. You had guys like Cole Beasley and Gabriel Davis and then Isaiah McKenzie trying to step up. But, they had their ups and downs this season. They played well against the Buccaneers even though they lost. But I think what might make the difference in this game is that they can establish the run. And Devin Singletary in the last month has rushed over 80 yards rushing in 3 of those games. One in which he rushed for over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns against the Atlanta Falcons. So they're getting the running game at the right time, which, like I said, we thought for a long time that they couldn't establish the run, but they're getting hot at the right time. And that's going to be a factor too, because the Patriots can also run the ball, especially with guys like Damian Harris, who led his team in rushing and rushing touchdowns. So who do I think is going to win? I don't know, man. I mean, the Patriots got the win in Buffalo, and then the Buffalo Bills got the win in Foxborough. So I feel like it could go either way. But, man, I can't count out the Bills, man. Honestly, they have done, they're not up to the level that they were last year, at least from an offensive standpoint. But, man, I think the defense could really take them some places. And, again, you got to give props to the Patriots getting back to the playoffs. But I think this is still the Bills' division, and I think they're going to advance to the next round. I believe the final score, and honestly, the first, game was a, closer game, but it was a low-scoring game. And then the second game was a little bit out of reach. I'm going to find somewhere in the middle. Let's go 24-21, the final score. And that has been my analysis and prediction for the Buffalo Bills versus the Patriots, which means I've only got one more to go in the AFC. We'll soon be talking about the Chiefs and the unlikely Pittsburgh Steelers that somehow snuck their way into the playoffs. I'm your host, Drew Hoover, and have a good day, everybody.